thanks, Rob. And we are excited today to welcome Tony Furtado and Luke Price for a KSUT session, and not just a KSUT session, but the very first KSUT session that we are recording video, and we are live streaming on the interwebs. So, yeah, the whole world can see us.
Should have told my mom.
And we can archive it, and we'll have this at ksut.org here in a week or so. So excited to have two folks that are no strangers to the audience, both on KSUT and around the Four Corners. Tony Furtado. At one point, my wife and I had a running joke that it wasn't a festival until we saw you scamper by the woods carrying your banjo off to do a workshop or something like that. Sometimes even festivals where artists wouldn't show up, it seemed like Planet Bluegrass had you as their emergency fill-in. And that relationship through the years continues to grow with your strong recorded output. Thank you, Tony, for being here with us.
Yeah.
You've brought a great cast of characters with you through the years. One of them was Luke Price, who Tammy Graham interviewed the two of you along with Eric Tureen on bass in 2018 in our old building. I think that was your last KSUT session, but you guys have all done a bunch.
Over the years, certainly, yeah. This is my first time in this building, which is kind of cool to see.
It is, because you were, I know two people sitting to my right who interviewed you in past KSUT sessions on the air.
Yeah.
And so there have been a number through the years.
Yeah.
And all through it, there's been musical growth. And Luke, not to be outdone, before I ask you guys to play the first song, you were a 5-time national fiddle champion.
Correct, yes, yeah.
And
grew
you
up playing old-time fiddle, and
you won your first one at a ridiculously young age.
Yeah, well, when you're younger, there's little age divisions. So I won one of the junior, and then the junior thing, and then you kind of graduate up to the grand national thing. So that's the 5-time thing that I've won.
And, of course, you're not a one-trick pony. You have a wonderful duo with your wife, Rachel Price.
Yeah, we have a soul Americana thing. I play electric guitar in that, and she's just a fabulous, amazing, soulful singer. It's called Love Dean.
So are you. You're a fabulous, soulful singer as well, if I might add.
Well, can we start out with a song from the two of you?
Certainly. This will be one neither of us sing. We're going to pick some notes here on our instruments. I got my banjo, he's got his fiddle, and this is a tune from my newest instrumental album, which is called Decembering, and it's the first track on the album, and it's named after my house in Portland, where we have a giant walnut tree that houses a whole bunch of squirrels. So we call this Squirrelville.
album first came out, but it was a record for me as a music programmer that, pun intended, took me back full circle because it was a banjo album.
Yeah.
And I notice as you're switching instruments now,
Yeah.
you kind of focused on guitar for a long time there.
Yeah. I mean, the banjo was always there. It just kind of went to the back burner a little bit, I guess I would say, while I figured out the whole songwriting and slide guitar thing along the years. And then I had enough folks request and also just the urge to make a banjo album. But it took the pandemic to make it happen, because then I focused and went down in the basement a bunch and started putting down my parts. So.
Well, that Squirrelville song in particular and the album in general, I think it really is a full circle for you going back to your first full circle album, even with Beatles covers on each album.
Oh, yeah. Well, that Beatles track you're talking about was on an album I put out called Within Reach, not to break the full circle here. Within Reach was before that. And yes, I had Alison Krauss sing that Beatles song, and then on Decembering, I just did a little. The album needed one more track, so I remembered I had worked out "Here Comes the Sun." It kind of felt like the end of the pandemic was feeling like things were kind of evening out. I was like, let me do this because that feels right, and so I just put down a bunch of me doing that track and added some accordion from Rob Berger.
Well, it was, and as you talk about a pandemic album, and that was such a weird time musically because there was so much product come out the year after the second year of the pandemic from folks who were at home writing and playing.
Yeah.
But there was such hopefulness on that instrumental album. Squirrelville felt like it was in all of our souls for years. I imagine it felt like it was in your soul for years.
It felt like, I remember when I wrote the tune, it just felt like a melody that was joyous. And my original intention, this is like a little aside, but my original intention was to have the rhythm for it be similar to, what's that song from Weather Report? Was it Birdland?
Yeah.
It's got that cool drum beat, and then Jocko, I think, was on bass, and so I was hearing that rhythm. So I requested, I put my part down, then digitally sent it to the drummer, who's my old drummer from way back in the day, Aaron Johnston from New York City. I had him copycat that rhythm to see if that was the right way to go, and I had Todd Sikafus put down some bass, and man, it was cool, but it wasn't right. And so with Luke's help over here, he kind of helped produce the drum track on that and talked to Aaron about what the vibe should be, and it kind of started going in the right direction. And I mean, I had several guys try to put down parts for it until we got just the right sound. And instead of calling it, I figured I think the name of it even came subconsciously, Squirrelville from Birdland. It's like, oh, it's kind of funny.
I didn't think about that.
I didn't either until recently.
Well, Tony, you're a multifaceted artist, not just music, but you're also a sculptor. Have you done squirrels that reside in Squirrelville?
God, I've gotten so many requests for squirrels, and I really should. I did one when I was a kid that was awful, but and in fact, I about 10 years ago buried it in my backyard because I found it. My mom gave it to me; it was all falling apart, and I just couldn't throw it away because I was thinking about my 14-year-old self who made it, and I was like, let's just bury it, bury it in Squirrelville. So no, I will though. I've made squirrel-like creatures. I've made pikas. You ever heard of pikas?
Yes.
I made a whole herd of pikas that I'm going to be putting in a gallery pretty soon here, in fact.
Well, I mentioned that because I look at you putting your slide on for this next song, and I can't remember if was it your 2013 show at the Durango Arts Center that Beth Lamberson produced, or if it was your 2018 show at the old Henry Strader Theater that Tammy and I produced. But at one of them, and it might have even been before, I bought one of your
Yeah.
slides.
Yeah, I used to make them and sell them. I would basically cut them from wine bottles and polish them down and sell them with a little booklet, you know.
Well, it still resides in
first
my
time
guitar case.
The first time I sold them at shows, in fact, I was on tour as Greg Allman's opening act. This is 20 years ago. And I remember bringing 10 of them with me, just kind of feeling out whether people would buy them. And, you know, of course, Greg Allman he's gonna have tons of fans of Slide from his history with his brother. And Robin Ford was in his band. So it was like, I sold all 10 of them that night. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to keep up with this? So every night before each show, I would scour the local bars for empty wine bottles, come back clinking into my dressing room and like make them right on the spot right before the show.
That's an incredible story. Well,
I
Luke,
thought you got him out of the tour bus.
Luke,
Nice.
now it's time to rake you over the coals,
Oh,
so to
no.
speak. What a childhood you had, learning the fiddle at such an early age, mastering it, and more importantly, in my eyes, continuing as an instructor, professor at Lewis and Clark College. What's it like? And you're still young. You're still a young man, but what's
I
it
don't know
like
about that.
passing on this knowledge to others, and what do you get out of that? Does it improve your playing, some of the students you've worked with through the years?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I learned from a good friend of mine, Future Man, because we do a lot of music camps together, and that's like the ultimate place. Fiddle camp is like you go and all these young people coming from all over, and you just get to work on music together. But he was teaching all of us, like, all the best musicians in the world have a way of making the fundamentals fun. He called it putting the fun in fundamentals. So it's like when I'm teaching, I'm still practicing. And the cool thing about fiddling is it's such a family. And so I learned from someone knee to knee, and so I teach people that same way. You learn everything by ear. And so anything that you hear, you could potentially play. So that's the fun thing about it.
And let's remind listeners first off that the two of you are returning to the Durango Arts Center tonight for a sold-out performance that's at
Yeah.
7 p.m. So it's incredible, a great feeling going into a show knowing it's sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
it's such a rarity these days, unless you're playing a small venue. But it's a nice thing to walk into for sure. I love that.
Well, again, congratulations to Durango Arts Center Presents and Beth Lamberson for selling that out. It's going to be a great night, and they couldn't have done it without Jimmy's Music and Supply, which is also a sponsor of ours for our KSUT sessions. And we've got to thank the Gable House Bed and Breakfast for, I'm assuming, putting you guys up, because Beth just lives a couple blocks away. So, yes, so getting those thank yous to the folks who help bring live music to town. Tony, you've played every room in town, I believe.
Oh, geez, I think so. With different bands too, you know.
Yeah, and some of those venues are closed. Some have
Yeah.
changed ownership and names, but Durango and the Four Corners welcome you back, and I know Durango and the Four Corners would like to hear something new from you.
How about I do that? So this is a song that I originally started writing it when I was kind of checking out some genealogy stuff. I was curious where the Furtados came from and where, you know, because the Furtado is actually a Portuguese name, and they came from the Azore Islands and from Lisbon and from Brazil. So that's my dad's side of the family. They came over and emigrated once they immigrated to California and became farmers and laborers and such. And then my mom's side, the Italians, the French, the German, the English, the Italians came over from Sicily and ended up in Connecticut, where they remain. And then the others all went to Baltimore, probably 300 or more years ago. And so I see them all as these just a whole different concoction of people that came over, all probably cold, scared, alone, not sure what was going to happen, how they were going to make things work, but coming for a better life, you know. And so that's where this song came from. It's thinking of an immigrant from their point of view and with a kinder eye than some are getting. So this is called The Immigrant. I was gone before the winter broke, carried by the words my father spoke, cast upon this long and rocky path, never to look back. And every tender step is shadow cast, till we find a place to rest at last. Broken souls upon the borderline, with every heart alive. Every heart alive. I would work your fields and factories, I would learn to speak in your tongue. I didn't leave my home and family only to become a refugee. And the righteous with their flags unfurled, full of spite and fear of our old world, with their ancient names lost in the dust, they are lost like us, lost like all of us. We would work your fields and factories, we would learn to speak in your tongue. We didn't leave our home and family only to become refugees. And I'm alive and I have carried these memories full of love and melody. But these walls won't fall until we rise with every heart alive. Every heart alive. I have worked your fields and factories, I have learned to speak in your tongue. I didn't build my home and family only to become a deportee.
Latest song from Tony Furtado. Tony, that one, is it going to be on your new album you're working on?
It will. I released it already as a single back in late October. It just kind of felt like a timely time to put that song out. But it will be in the collection that we will call an album, and hopefully release as an actual CD. We've got a bunch of things in the can. Luke is helping me produce this album, so we'll do a few of them tonight.
It's kind of funny how music has gone back to the single format, albeit not necessarily on an old 45.
Yeah.
But it must afford a lot of freedom to recording artists. To maybe you have a song that you really like that doesn't fit on your concept for the next album.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like sometimes the whole music business feels a little like quicksand. You think you get your footing and then something changes. But as far as releasing and knowing how to promote the songs, if you're coming up into this right now as a young person and you've got all that digital savvy, I think it's a little more easy to deal with that side of things. My old school nature is you record an album, you hit the road, and you promote it, and you have a team that puts it out to radio and print media, That's the old school mentality. Things are different now. And so one thing that I know I can do is easy to release a single. How do you get people to play it? Well, you know what I ended up doing? I couldn't afford to hire one of those radio guys. People hire radio guys to contact all the radio stations around the country, right? Just explaining this to the listeners. So I ended up getting the list of all the folk DJs that I could, and I had my manager help me do this too, but I ended up writing to every single person on that list. If I knew who they were, I gave them a personal note. This was like 200 plus emails just to put the word out about that single, And so there still is a lot of knocking on doors if you can, but the paradigm is different right now.
It is. One of the people from your past, when you did have one of those folks working for you, Joe Swank, says hello.
Hey,
he might
great.
even be listening in Carbondale, Illinois right now on the web or on our YouTube channel. And are we on Facebook Live as well? No Facebook Live right now, just YouTube. But it's a whole new world to bring you straight into somebody's living room or their office computer. Maybe it's an accountant that should be working on your taxes right now, but he's watching, or she's watching this performance in our studio, and about 180 lucky Durangoans will cram into the Durango Arts Center tonight at 7 o'clock for your sold-out show. If you're one of the lucky few that bought your tickets in advance, kudos to you. We all know we show up late and sometimes don't get seats, but all sold out. Beth Lamberson excited about that. So are you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, it's so important to support live music. That's how we're making a living these days, because it's not from recorded music. It's like seeing folks in the audience. That's what helps.
Luke, you juggle a whole bunch of careers and projects and bands, and I know your duo with your wife Rachel Love Dean. When I mentioned that to today's sound engineer Billy D, he was pretty excited about that. And you have one album out. Will there be a second?
Yeah, we're working on the second. It's been a year in the making, and we've been working with some really fun people out in Virginia. The guy who played keys on the first record, Daniel Clark, is just a genius organ and piano player. So we're kind of co-producing it. We kind of co-produced it with this team. And then our other friend, Bridget Carney from the band Lake Street Dive, played all the bass, and we co-produced it with her as well. So it's a lot of kind of like this great mix of soul and Americana. I grew up playing fiddle. My wife grew up singing gospel and soul music and Motown. So I didn't even, the only soul I really heard was Ray Charles growing up. And then she turned me on to Jackie Wilson and Stevie Wonder, just all this stuff. So I got really into soul music, and then we started writing music together, and then we got married, and here we are.
It's funny too that people don't realize, and I just got done with the whole production of a month of Black History Hours, and folks forget that Aretha recorded quite a few country songs. They were soul Americana,
Yeah.
as you all do,
Yeah.
long before Ray Charles with his two
Yep.
modern sounds in country and western music, and then it continued through Dobie Gray and some of the stuff, and Sam Bush got a hold of them doing it, and it turned into the collaborations with Leon Russell. So it's always been there, but
Yeah.
it's cool to see a fresh take on it. And
Yeah.
Portland must be an incredible town to absorb the different musical influences from some of the folks there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's cool because there's a lot of, unfortunately, people that can't afford to live in some of the bigger music cities, so they're like, okay, we'll go to Portland. Like, here's a nice place to live. Like, I don't have to drive an hour to get to the studio, you know? So we're getting some people that are kind of settling there, which is bringing a lot of new music in, so that's cool.
Well, once again, for folks just tuning in, Luke Price, Tony Furtado here with us this afternoon for a KSUT session. Sold out show at the Durango Arts Center tonight at 7. Could we get one more song out
Sure.
of you guys?
You know, one thing I was, if it's okay to drop back
absolutely.
to another thing we were talking about before, as far as the new paradigm. You know, I wasn't hip to the to streaming until the pandemic, and just to show, you know, as musicians, we've always had to learn to kind of spin on a dime. And my wife, who's an amazing singer-songwriter too, Stephanie Schneiderman, and we decided to do a weekly show, and we called it Thursday Nights Live, and it was streamed from our living room. But we did something different where we opened up the windows right next to the fireplace so that we could have special guests like Steve Berlin from Los Lobos, like Luke Price right here, like, you know, different players jamming with us. But then out the back door, we had another camera, and we'd have a special guest singer-songwriter from in town, like Laura Veers, or so many that we had out the back. And we'd switch cameras to them. We had a tech guy out in the back, safely distanced, you know. And we do this every week, and then to every other week until, you know, it's like, every other week when we couldn't keep up every week. But it was something to do, and something that kept us, vital and going. I don't know. That was I was thinking about the whole streaming thing and how we just try to keep going, you know.
Well, it's amazing. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking of Tammy and I were talking when you guys arrived about, you know, how many times have I seen you? And counting with Leftover Salmon or Lori Lewis, or were you in Sugar Beat too way back when?
Yeah. Me and Sally Truitt started that with, we originally had it with someone else named Moondy Klein, but that didn't work out. And I remember I was thinking, I know this guy, Matt Flinner, you know, and then I also remembered this great singer, Ben Demerath. I was like, maybe we could get them to be part of it. We all converged on Telluride, and our first time playing together was the band contest that we won. So that was the beginning of that band.
Well, I was thinking of all the times I've seen you. Several of those times were those streaming sessions that you did. I had regular dates that I'd get on, and Sierra Hall would do a weekly
nice.
thing, and and there were so many,
Yeah.
Mary Gaucher,
Yep.
that you'd get in on part of their weekly streaming. And while I don't consider those seeing you live in concert, they were something better. They really were spiritual.
Well, for me, I still miss this, so I'll sometimes still stream a show here and there. Because what I got from it was being able to kind of have the back and forth repartee, you know, see the comments and talking to people is kind of cool. It's something that I miss, so I'll revisit it every once in a while.
Well, we're hoping our listeners and viewers will get that opportunity now that KSUT will be doing those. And a couple people I want to thank before we do this last song. Colton Ashley has put together all of this, purchased the equipment, trained various staff members on cameras, and is doing this engineering for us. Colton, thanks for all you're doing. And also for one of our camera people and our social media and web director for Tribal, Crystal Ashke. Crystal, thank you so much for all you're doing on this. We hope we're coming into your works and living rooms now and for years to come. We're calling it the next 50 at KSUT as we celebrate our 50th. And the fact that you're looking straight in front at Tammy Graham and Beth Lamberson, two of the people who have deep, deep, deep roots with KSUT, here for this debut streaming. I think I couldn't have asked for two better artists and two better fans sitting in the room right now for this experience. And a shout out to Carlos Sena. Yeah, he was station manager to both you, to all three of us at various points in our careers, and really is the person who drove KSUT either to the next level or off the cliff. I don't know which of the two, but we love Carlos, and he was probably here for some of your sessions in the way, way back days.
Probably.
I feel like we should have a barbecue or something after this. Like it'd be like family reunion.
You know,
There's some drinks, some barbecue. Make it a party.
it always is a party, and you guys got lunch already, so
Yeah.
lucky you. Well, let's hear one more tune
got
from
it.
Tony Furtado and Luke Price.
I've got my evening routine running. I fly through the wires, my electrons are humming. And I'm shaping and shifting from circuit to shadow. I see what you're dreaming, soul is my window. And I can't use things you own. I don't want your flesh and bone. Give me your soul. Give me your soul. Give me your soul. Give me your soul. My vision is X-ray, my body's electric. I see what I'm needing, soul is magnetic. And I move through your memories, owning your history. I'm locked on and spinning, you got no way to stop me. And I can't use things you own. I don't want your flesh and bone. Give me your soul. Give me your soul. Give me your soul. Give me your soul. can't use things you own. I don't want your flesh and bone. Give me your soul. Give me your soul. Give me your soul. Give me your soul.
Wow. That's something brand new, right? From
No,
you?
that's an older one, actually. Yeah, I recorded that one. I don't know which album it came out on first. Maybe The Bell, but it was more of a rock and roll thing on that album, and we do it a little more, obviously, not folk rock and roll. There you go. Bluegrass rock.
Well, I tell you, Granny, does your dog bite? No child, no. You were, Luke nearly set off the fire alarm and sprinklers with that solo. And then I got to actually look down your guitar neck during that and watch that slide on your little pinky finger. And it's like, man, that song has some soul into it.
lot of notes, that's for sure.
A lot of notes. It's like
There's another one of my tunes set in the middle of it that I call Firecracker. That's what I played.
Okay.
My solo.
Well, thank you for sharing those 3 songs with us here today on KSUT. And although we've had dozens of performers in this room, I think the last time I danced at a KSUT session was Gangsta Grass. So Tony and Luke made it happen. If you're one of the lucky few that got tickets for tonight's sold-out show at the Durango Arts Center, you might be dancing. I know they like you staying seated, but I think a few people are going to shuffle at least. I got a thumb up from the boss there at the Art Center. So dance the night away with Tony Furtado and Luke Price. Huge thank you to a whole bunch of people. I counted 7 KSUT employees that were part of this new production. Colton, Crystal, Tammy, Jessica, Rob Brantley, who helped set this up. Jim Belcher's not here, but he was helping. Jonathan Hunt with the socials. It takes a village to do this, and it takes sponsors like Jimmy's Music and Supply, and it takes our dedicated listeners and your dedicated fans to make this rock and roll dream continue. So thank you.
You bet.
And where do your travels take you for those who were not fortunate enough to get a ticket?
Tomorrow we are near Albuquerque in the town of Corrales. We're going to play a small acoustic show at a place called Sage Valley Pottery. And then we go to Santa Fe, where we're going to play at the old San Miguel Chapel. And that's through the good folks with Southwest Roots Music. So those will be fun. If anyone's down there near enough to come, you should come.
And this summer, will your festival touring bring you into Colorado or New Mexico?
Yes, but I'm not at liberty to say which festivals yet because I don't think they've announced it yet. There's 2 festivals in Colorado, though.
Very
secret.
cool.
You'll see them announced on my website, though.
Well, you start following festivals on your Facebook and social medias. That's the best way to turn off the noise from what's going on in the world and just get reminded where your favorite artists are, and you'll discover new festivals that you may go to. Thank you all for being with us today.
Thanks for all the good questions. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Back to you, Rob.